Hello, welcome to another episode of Trek in the Valley. This week we're doing something a little bit different with our bonus episode, and we're re-releasing a re-edited, remastered version of our discussion of Charlie X. Please enjoy it. Episode 2 of the Untitled Star Trek Original Series Recap Podcast in 5, 4, now.
Okay, perfect. Now, I'm Al Hirt, and this is...
Adam Ordall Quinnell. We are the hosts of this, your soon-to-be-titled Star Trek The Original Series Recap Podcast.
Okay, yeah.
This is episode number 2, where we will be talking about
Charlie X.
Yes, this is episode 2 of the podcast, and surprisingly enough, we're talking about episode 2 of Star Trek, the original series. As Al just said, the title is Charlie X, and this episode aired on September 15th. Ooh, post 9/11, 1966. Oh, not pre 9/11. So September 15th, 1966. This is the synopsis of this episode from Paramount Plus. A powerful teenage boy wreaks havoc aboard the Enterprise. And I think that pretty well sums up what happens in this episode. So generally, we kind of just talk, we sort of just recap the episode and talk about some of the themes and things that happen and whatnot. This is an interesting episode because there's, as usual with these, it really relies on the guest cast. You know, yeah, like the kid who plays Charlie X, his name is Robert Walker. And just really quick, I want to see what Robert Walker had been in before he did this epic episode of Star Trek. Let me go back here.
I feel like they just hired him though, just for that look that he has.
Oh yeah. So he does a weird look when he does he's got a superpower that we'll get into where it's like boing, and he rolls his eyes backwards into his head and like points his massive forehead at them. He was in an episode of a show called The Trials of O'Brien. He was in an episode of the show Big Valley. The Defenders. See, this is what I like about these episodes of Star Trek. Like when they get these guest cast people who rip, who just absolutely shred their parts. These people hadn't done usually they haven't done a bunch of sci-fi. You know, this Star Trek, like they're coming off the set of the 11th Hour or The Ceremony or Dr. Kildare about some sort of doctor that I'm sure solves crimes. And then they walk onto the set of Star Trek where they have to be this all-powerful space god. And because they're just an awesome, an awesome guest star or an awesome actor, they make it work.
I think, though, that what that mainly stems from, too, is how great the story is and what that holds. Because it's more of like a dramatic, piece about this person just trying to deal with loneliness, and he just happens to have telekinetic powers, and he's an adolescent. But the other thing, too, where, some people don't shift the blame to him, he's already done it to one other ship.
Yeah, so
let's get into that later,
it starts out, this episode starts, and this time I tried to keep much more detailed notes about what happened, just because I thought I want to try it both ways, see how it works. So I want to just say this opens with a shot of Kirk, and he's going to the transporter room to meet these people who are beaming over from a science and exploration vessel. And he's wearing an insane green V-neck.
Just super bright.
Yeah, I think that I like that the Kirk's got a and I think it's because that's like his formal captain thing. Like he's going to meet visitors to the ship.
Yeah,
but
more
it's
casual wear.
hilariously. I wonder. I bet for the remastering, because as we mentioned, we're watching the remastered Star Trek: The Original Series on Paramount Plus, and I wonder if there was like one team that was just in charge of making sure the shirt colors popped. Like on the remastering team, like your whole job is you need to make sure that red is red as fuck. But yeah, so Kirk comes in his formal green V-neck. He meets these two officers, the captain and the first officer of a ship that's like a science vessel, and they have with them a 17-year-old boy named Charlie Evans. And what's Charlie's story, Al? What the fuck? What do they say?
Don't they say that he's just some visitor trying to get to what is the place? Cosmos 5?
Well, they're going to like an Outpost 5 or something.
Outpost 5.
But no, what they say is, so Charlie's whole story is he was on like a transport ship when he was 3 years old, and the ship crashed on this planet Thasia. And he lived for 14 years until he was 17 years old, and he was all by himself. And somehow he managed to survive, even though his rations would not have lasted that. It's the story of Hanukkah. He only had 1 year of rations, and then it lasted for 14 years.
He got so powerful.
Well,
we see
exactly, and then so the ship finds him, and so the interesting thing about this scene is the captain of the other ship. They're basically dropping Charlie off at the Enterprise because the Enterprise is going to where his family is on this Outpost 5 or whatever. But these people were weird. They really talked Charlie up. They're like, "No, Charlie's a great kid. Yeah, no, he's great. So you definitely should take him to Outpost 5 because he's just a good kid, and we're like Charlie a lot.
Something else.
Yeah, we've got to go do other stuff." And then Kirk is like, "Hey, I mean, I've never met a science vessel or a transport ship or whatever that couldn't use you need some supplies or anything?"
Yeah,
and they're like, "No, we're out of here." He even offers them
a drink, right?
Yeah, not even the Saurian brandy, and they turn down entertainment tapes. He's basically offering them porn, and they're like, "No, we got to get the fuck out of here. See you later, okay, Charlie. Bye. This was great." And then now Charlie is just on the Enterprise, and Charlie Evans, sole survivor of a transport crash, alone, and since he's 17. And in the next scene, we see Charlie getting but
that's the thing though. As soon as he gets off, he meets Kirk, and immediately, like, that's what I was noted too. That like he immediately falls in love with Kirk.
He imprints on Kirk almost.
Yeah, and then what's the other lady?
Yeoman Rand. So then he sees
Yeoman
Rand in the hallway, and he's like, "You're a girl," and she's like, "What?" And he's like,
"Is this a girl?"
Yeah, Captain Kirk, is this a girl? And he goes, "Yes, that's a girl." And Yeoman Rand is like,
"Fuck," though, in like today's.
Well, I mean, we're gonna run into this a lot, where this show is painfully dated.
For sure.
But the interesting thing
it's funny how they treat it as like a joke, though. But we'll speak on that later.
And what's funny to me is that this episode is so prescient now. It's like so timely now, even because of people like this Evans kid, Charlie Evans, we'll get to. So, Charlie, he then goes to get he says, "Is that a girl?" "Yeah, it's a girl." And then we see Charlie doing a physical with Bones. And he's doing this exercise that they go back to a lot, where he's like on his back, and there's like a box coming out of the wall that he has to push with his legs.
Oh yeah,
it's like a leg lift exercise, and
calisthenics,
and that's what you see Kirk doing that whenever he has to get a physical from Bones too. So I guess one of the most important things about being in shape in the future is being able to push a box into a wall with your legs. And so
it
Bones
was just
gives
a
him
physical, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Bones gives him a clear bill of health. Future physicals involve a lot of leg stuff.
It's interesting though. We need to find out like right when he like snaps, when he unhinges.
Well, and so it's pretty,
because at this point he's pretty calm.
The kid is calm. He's just trying to feel things out. He's got a big forehead. This kid's forehead is absolutely enormous, and I don't know that this actor has a big forehead or he was just great at playing big foreheaded. But
they
either way,
just
it
had
worked.
him just because he was just really well cast for the part. We'll say.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's a 17-year-old kid. He learned how to talk from these data tapes. So basically, the weird thing is, after he does the physical, that's when Charlie asks Bones, "Do you like me?" And Bones is like,
yeah, that's when things kick off.
yeah, Bones is like, "I guess, why wouldn't I?" And he's like, "The other ship didn't like me." And you can just kind of see, Bones is just like, Bones, I think, gives him a little too much credit, because he's like, "I want people to like me," and Bones goes, "Yeah, most 17-year-olds do."
Yeah.
And boy, he's gonna be eating those words in about 48 minutes. And then there's a weird montage of Charlie watching the people in the ship working.
Oh yeah,
Remember that?
The engineers.
He's
too.
like, just like Charlie, just like looking over somebody's shoulder, like he's in the background while they're working, or it's like a person's putting these two tubes together, and Charlie's just like there watching him with his big ass forehead. And then
it's like the other last guest with the 1,000-yard stairs, you know.
Yes, it's like Green. It's like Officer Green.
Officer Green with the stare.
With his weird, like he's staring through the camera, and
through your soul.
And then they made it even more starey with HD and 4K.
Oh yeah.
So what does Charlie do after that? He gives Rand a gift, right?
Yeah, Yeoman Rand, right? And then that whole scene, the way it starts is he sees the two engineers interact with each other, and one guy smacks the other dude, you know, in the hip. I mean, the guy was walking out of the way, so he ends up smacking his hip, not exactly his butt.
Oh, yeah.
Then he walks up to Yeoman Rand.
He gives her perfume first.
Perfume, yeah, but that's extremely rare.
And where did he get it? She's like, I know this isn't on the ship. Yeah, he just looks at her with his weird big forehead, and then she makes plans to see him later that night.
Makes plans.
She's like, come meet me in Recreation Suite 5. And after my shift, because he's like, I want to talk to you right now. And she's like, no, I'm at work. What the fuck? Which is not cool. You should not bother a lady you should not bother somebody you're interested in at work. It's like, they got to work. It already sucks. They're at fucking work. Leave them alone. And then so she's like, fine, whatever. Just meet me at...
She was nice enough to even say that.
Yes, exactly. Too nice. And this was like made in the 60s when women were expected to put themselves at risk.
Yeah.
They were expected to put themselves at risk for society's expectations of them.
At this point, you'd already know to be like a little distant, you know, and a little creeped out.
Well, plus, you should be creeped out just because he was a person who lived for 14 years without other human interaction.
Of course, but it's as if, what's the word?
And then you see that forehead.
Yeah, but you don't see... People aren't passing around the briefs on the ship, you know. They don't know what the hell's coming in and what's coming out.
And
right?
Yes, and exactly. And they explain things to her later, and it makes a little bit more sense. But so he tries to give her perfume. She's like, "What? Oh, thank you, but whatever. I'm working. Meet me later in the recreation suite." And then as she's walking away, he slaps her ass because he saw the other people do it. The engineers do it, and she's like, "Whoa. You shouldn't do that." And he's like, "What?" And she doesn't...
This scene's insane.
Yeah, because she doesn't fucking...
She doesn't address it.
Well, but
she's
honestly, it's not her...
But
it's not her role to educate this guy. Because she's just basically been... It's an unwanted advance. Maybe if she would have just punched him in the face.
Well, not punching, but explained what the fuck are you doing?
Yes, how the writers decided to do this is fucked up.
Yeah, it was a little bizarre.
She basically says, just ask Captain Kirk or Bones, ask Captain Kirk or Dr. McCoy why you shouldn't have done that. And we don't even, and that doesn't happen for a while.
A long time.
Exactly. And then we get to we cut to Kirk and Spock and Bones all kind of chatting about Charlie's situation. Yeah. And Kirk is like, hey, Spock's working on a training program for Charlie, but Bones, you got to give him the birds and the bees chat. And Bones is like, I think a strong captain type.
Yeah, that's so awkward.
I actually think a strong male captain type should tell him. And Kirk's like, you're the doctor. You got the job.
And he's like, no, Kirk, he literally looks up to you and no one else. You should probably do it.
Yeah, Bones could see.
No, I don't.
Bones knew that Charlie had imprinted on Kirk. And this brings us to the
Spock scene with the chess. But is that's after, right? Or what happens before?
Well, no, because first off, Spock says that he is he's suspicious of the Thasians. Because the Thasians are
happens,
like, he's like, do you think that Kirk asks Spock, do you think the Thasians really are down there existing and we just can't sense them or whatever? And Spock's like, I don't know, it's a mystery. And then it's not chess. They go with the scene where Spock and Uhura jam. Mm-hmm. So
that's what sets it off. My bad.
Yeah. So don't worry about it.
Down here.
So they're watching. So in the recreation room where Yeoman Rand and a bunch of other people are watching Spock play his space lute or his Vulcan harp or whatever the fuck, and Uhura starts doing this like jazzy scatting over it, and it's absolutely fucking hilarious. And then they play a song together, and it's all about like Satan being in disguise, and it's this weird, sexy like torch song or like jazz song.
So bizarre.
And when they're halfway through, Charlie walks in and just kind of looms over Yeoman Rand while this song is being played. And
he gets angry though that he's not the center of attention, which is really creepy and off-putting too.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even... Yes, absolutely.
He's frustrated.
He walks in and he immediately is pissed that Yeoman Rand isn't paying attention to him.
Oh, that was the other point we were going to bring up, too. It's a lot of incel vibes.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, he's definitely an incel.
Yeah,
I forgot creepy. That's what I was hinting at earlier. It's so 4chan-y, like, he's just, like, straight up...
Feels
like,
bad.
This episode is so... perfectly encapsulates like every stereotype about an incel. Immediately irritated that the lady's not paying attention to him right away.
But the center attention thing, I think that's a level above. That's a psychopath.
Exactly. There's more. There's even it goes even further than just your standard creepo.
But what happens though is while Spock and Uhura they're doing their thing, she sings a song about him, right?
Yeah, she makes the song about him. But before we discuss this awesome, weird jazz song, I have to say, wouldn't it be fucked up if you were like an officer on this ship and you were all in a recreation area and then suddenly two of like the head officers like start singing a song about Satan like being in disguise on the ship? And then yes, that's...
I guess that is kind of like leading the foreplay to the...
foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Foreplay. Hey, I think foreplay is better. Too. It's foreplay of story, baby.
For Uhura,
exactly. Story foreplay.
But it was foreshadowing, obviously what was happening on the ship and who was going to go.
Yeah, with Charlie.
Yeah.
And so then Uhura sings an encore verse where she makes it about Charlie and she's making eye contact with him. And then, the song's over and everybody claps and Charlie creeps out and sits next to Yeoman Rand, who was playing solitaire. So Yeoman Rand is playing solitaire. And then what does Charlie do to try and impress her?
He takes a deck of cards, flips them around and does this magician trick. But once he flips all the cards, it's images of Yeoman Rand.
It's fucking crazy.
But what's hilarious is that obviously they use photo ops and stocks and auditions of Yeoman Rand doing poses, in front of
that's
the
what's
camera.
So fun. So it's so
perfect.
Weird. They're glamour shots of her.
Shots, yeah.
1960s glamour shots of this character. She's selling a vase or a vase or something. She's posing with something you would buy on the Home Shopping Channel. But yeah, so Charlie puts down
a
4
dark
cards.
Hallway, one light bulb.
Yes, like it was shot in a closet.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy shit. Imagine you're a lady and this kind of creepy dude with a big old forehead is like, I'm going to show you a magic trick. And he takes 4 cards off the top of a deck, flips them over, and as he flips them over, they're weird pictures of you that you never posed for. And she's like, oh, how'd you do that? And then she proceeds to be impressed by the tricks that he does. And it's like, so that's wild. How they get you.
Yeah.
That's how an incel gets you. They have one thing that endears you to them.
It's not even that, though. It's more I guess it comes back to what I was saying before when we were watching it as it was going, where I turned to Adam and I said, well, a lot of these episodes are just going to be because... the Enterprise, their crew, they're just way too trusting of everything, just for it.
Yep, they really miss
whatever.
They miss a lot of signs, and also
the cards at least.
He makes a card appear in her cleavage after that too.
Yeah, that was a red flag.
It's really
when he points at his mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
And then everybody watches too.
Yep. And then after all that very creepy card stuff,
hilarious,
that's when
creepy.
Charlie asks Kirk about the ass slapping thing, and he actually demonstrates on Kirk. He's like, I did this to her, and she didn't like it.
Oh, but it was because he wasn't getting to the point too. That's the other trait that he has. That's a little irritable when you're just like,
Yeah, exactly. It's like spit it out, with your big forehead, you creepo, and Kirk is the one who's stammering over himself because he's so clearly uncomfortable. And what he says was, "Well, Charlie, there's no right way to hit a woman." He says, "There's things you can do with a lady, but the exact quote is things you can do with a lady, Charlie. There's no right way to hit a woman. Man to man is one thing, but man and woman." It's not a thing, you understand? And Charlie's like, no.
You hit him different. Yeah. It's like, what? But granted, it was the 60s.
So Kirk said, exactly. Kirk says all this word salad, like, there's some things you can do to a woman, and some things you can only do to a man. And then he says, so you understand, right, Charlie? And Charlie's like, no. Of course he doesn't fucking understand. You didn't say anything, dude.
He didn't say anything at all.
And this is the strange thing. At the end of that scene, before it cuts to commercial, Kirk gets a message over the intercom where it's like the galley, the cook, and the cook says, "I put meatloafs in the oven and now they're turkeys, real turkeys."
Yeah, I was.
So clearly, Charlie made these turkeys appear.
Yeah, and then he laughs in front of him.
And oh shit!
At that point, it should have been out of control too.
Oh, and we totally missed. I think earlier that the ship that took
of course
the Antares. So the Antares, the science ship before the mess hall thing.
The mess hall, yeah.
So the science ship where they got Charlie originally, it reaches out to them and is like, "Hey, we're having an emergency," and Charlie is on the bridge when this transmission comes through, and then the ship explodes, and all they can find is wreckage when they put out their sensors, and Kirk is like, "Charlie, do you know what would have happened to that ship?" And Charlie's like, "Oh, it was an old piece of shit, just exploded."
He purely spites them. It's so creepy.
He really did not like those people, and obviously he probably blew them up. And that's
the guest star does such a good job.
Yeah, and so then after the meatloafs, they're turkeys now. It comes back from commercial break, and Spock is like, "Look, Kirk, I think that the boy knew what happened to the Antares before it happened." And Kirk's like, "You don't have any evidence." And this, I wrote in my notes that this episode is a much slower burn than the last episode we watched, the Man Trap. On the Man Trap, it's like people were dying left and right. True. No, there's a salt monster, and who's the villain?
But I feel like the stakes got risen a lot. I mean, I guess just the suspense you'll find out later, obviously, when in the episode. But where Kirk's like, where do they go? Like, where do these people go? What the hell?
Oh yeah, Charlie makes people disappear in the next couple scenes. So
it ups the ante.
Exactly, and that things pick up after the 3D chess. So
True.
When we come back from commercial, they don't really address that the meatloafs are turkeys ever again.
They don't address Yeoman Rand.
And poor Yeoman Rand. She really gets the short end of the stick on this one. Kirk brings Charlie into a rec room. Spock. It opens with Spock and Kirk playing 3D chess.
Yeah, they're playing 3D chess.
And Kirk beats Spock because Kirk is just like, and this is
he gets to checkmates in a row.
Yeah, so Spock is like talking to him about how Charlie knew what was going on before it happened with the Antares. The ship exploded, and then Kirk wins at 3D chess because he's such a wild card and he's not as logical as Spock.
Checks. He gets out of 2 checks and then ends up making a checkmate.
Yeah, and so he really played the shit out of some 3D chess. And which I don't like. I think Spock should always beat Kirk at 3D chess.
Yeah, that was a little bizarre, but it was funny though.
So
it shows their personalities.
Charlie, yeah, exactly. Kirk like his heart will win at the end of the day over logic.
Kirk's a wild guy.
Yes. So then Charlie comes in with his big forehead, leading the way. And
Kirk runs.
Kirk could not get out of there fucking fast enough.
Out of the room,
He's like, "Hey, why don't you play 3D chess with Spock? See you later." It's like a little Kirk vapor.
Oh yeah, he goes, "Do you like chess?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he goes,
"I watched people play it on the Antares."
Yeah, he play with Spock. He's great.
Yeah, and then so Spock beats Charlie at chess, and that's the first time Charlie does the weird 3D chess. First off, Spock's like, "Oh, Charlie, you made a mistake. Checkmate. Now I win." And Charlie's like, "I didn't make a mistake." And then Spock is like, "I'm out of here." Like that's Spock's response to Charlie throwing a fit is just like,
well, like what else can he do, right?
I think I've got something to do somewhere else. And then he just bounces.
Gets up.
One thing is they leave Charlie alone a lot. Like
Which
he's a
is
weirdo
really
creep.
scary.
Like why would they leave him alone? And then after Spock leaves,
They think he's just a kid, though. I feel like at this point,
still, yeah, but he is an ass slapper. You'd want to keep an eye on an ass slapper. And then this is the first time he does the thing where I was like boring, and he looks straight up into his own brain.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to look at his own forehead, his own huge forehead.
He looks into his eyelids.
Yes. And then he melts the chess pieces.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was dope. And that was like, it was very much like something that a villain in a Stephen King book would do.
Oh, and that's the other, well, I guess I'll bring it up later, but also they do a lot of noticeable lighting with the eyes and just the showdowns.
And that's something we'll see throughout the series. They do this awesome lighting where it's like they just light a band on their eyes and their forehead and their mouth are like in the dark. And it really like makes their looks pop, you know? And after this scene, they ratchet up the intensity with Yeoman Rand again because she tries to introduce Charlie to a girl his own age.
It was like the cringiest scene ever. Adam, I was like curling into a ball. I don't know if he saw.
No, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Because so Yeoman Rand is like, I'm going to help this kid out. And I'm going to introduce him to this girl that's his own age.
And she totally liked him. And
she was just, the girl was like super nice to him for a second. And then he's just like, I want to talk to you, Yeoman Rand, alone. And she's like, that's rude. And the other girl's like, I guess I probably wanted somewhere else. And she just, like, to her credit, she just takes off. She's like, you deal with this guy, Yeoman Rand. I don't give a shit. And then they have that weird, very weirdo incel shit where he says basically, he's like, you're the only one that smells like a girl. You're the only one that smells like a girl, this kid says.
When I see you, I hunger. And do you know what that is?
When I see you, I'm hungry all over. Good memory, dude. Yeah.
So bad.
When I see you, I'm hungry all over. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah,
and she's just like,
eerie.
oh.
And that gave me like stalker, like serial killer vibes.
And they don't really address it because the next scene.
Yeah, Yeoman was just like, he bugged me in the hallway again. And I was like, bugged you? Like, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. The next scene is Rand talking to Kirk. And she's like, Kirk's like, I already talked to him about that. And then Rand says the fucking best thing. It's like totally speaks to like a lady's experience, I think, in the world. When she's like, look. Something's got to be done about this because I've seen that look that he has before and he's not going to stop until I hurt him or like something like that. Like, and I guess now I'm just thinking maybe she means she's got to say, I'm not interested in you that way and hurt him emotionally. No. But I read it like she's got to break his fucking arm
out and shoot him.
Exactly.
Or stun him.
In retrospect, maybe it was meant to be softer than that.
No, but I took it as like this stalker's about to come into my home, and if you don't do something about I will do something about it. Yeah.
Exactly. And so then Kirk goes to confront the kid, and he's like, hey, you know, first off, he starts by asking him about the melted chess pieces. Yeah. And that's when, like, the incel shit.
With the chess pieces.
Well, that's like his segue. That's like his way to kind of open the door, right?
Warm him up.
And then he talks to him about the ladies, and Charlie says, everything I do or say is wrong, which is like incel shit to a T.
Classic, but it's classic also adolescent teenage shit, too.
Yeah. And
this was the 60s. The incel term hadn't.
Oh, no, I'm not saying he was an incel then. I'm just saying, like, you could watch this now and be like, totally. That's like, because that's what you see. That's what these people on Twitter say. They're like, oh, well, whatever I do or say is wrong. And then this next one really hits the heart of that kind of Twitter vibe when he says, I even try to learn something and change, and then I'm still wrong.
But it's like an adolescent teen thing too, also to think. But like, obviously, this is a more extreme case because he's doing way more awful.
Yeah,
things.
he's a fucking maniac, and Kirk is just like, look, you got to be gentle. If the girl doesn't feel the way you feel,
he's like, look, you just gotta wait.
And he even says, and then Charlie says, but Rand's the one I want, and Kirk says, no, the years are wrong. There's a million things you can have and a million you can't have, and this is one of the things you can't have.
Yeah, kind of just life's not fair. Get used to it. And then, I love that quote though when he was just deal with the pain and swallow it.
Hold on tight and try to survive.
Yeah, hold on tight and try to survive.
So Charlie says, what am I going to do, like, with this unrequited love? And Kirk says, hold on tight and try to survive. And Charlie says, that isn't what you do, like, because he looks up to Kirk so much.
Everyone does it.
Yeah, he looks up to Kirk so much. He's like, but you wouldn't take no for an answer, or you wouldn't whatever. And Kirk's just like, no, everybody does.
It's called, like, being a human being and dealing with your shit.
And then,
which is a nice message.
But this episode has a lot of weird transitions because the next
it hits and then it misses.
But the next it cuts over to like an American Gladiators style area. Remember, they're all like there's like two people fighting like with the medicine balls on the ends of sticks, and it's the gym.
But this is what they're gearing towards. So with the adolescence thing, where it's like, okay, well, you clearly have all this pent-up energy to harass Yum and Rand in the hallway, so let's get you fighting. Maybe you can do this.
Let's try and work off some of this boner energy with push-ups or whatever the fuck.
This testosterone.
So basically, Kirk is trying to teach this kid judo falls and shit, and the kid's like, I don't want to do it, and he gets weird, right? But then Kirk talks him into doing a little judo dance with him where they're like trying to get at each other's feet or whatever. Yeah. And then Kirk throws him on the ground, and this other guy, Sam, that was helping Kirk do some demonstrations, laughs, and Charlie loses it. He's like, don't laugh at me. And Kirk's like, hey, simmer down, man. We're all just having fun. And then that's when shit gets crazy. That's when shit pops off, as they say.
Yeah, it was just all leading up to that point because, didn't we mention, though, that he makes people disappear silent, though, at first?
Oh, yes. Oh, no, that's after the...
No, that's before. That's what starts off.
Oh, that's right. So,
dude, okay, that's the other thing. No one notices. He starts to, like, do some crazy shit, and no one notices.
Even before there was a conversation with Uhura.
I wrote it down. Hold on.
He appeared to Uhura as somebody she might find attractive.
Yeah, but Uhura just...
Well, he hits on her in Swahili first. She's like the linguistics officer, and he hits on her in Swahili first, and she's like, how did you learn Swahili? And he's like, just like with the perfume with Rand, he's like, my forehead taught me.
Yeah, and then after that, so then once he gets laughed at, he makes that random trainer guy disappear. Sam.
He makes Sam disappear, and there's a weird glowy transition effect where the guy disappears.
Obviously.
And that's like the big Act 3 turn. That's like the turn from Act 2 to Act 3.
But I feel like a lot of crazy things have happened before then, you know?
Yeah, but it built up. It's like he melted the chess pieces. He was... Oh, actually, the hitting on Uhura thing, that was from the last episode.
Yeah, I don't know how you mix those
up. That was great. Yeah. No, that was... didn't you say that? Didn't you just lead us down that road, though?
No. I said he made Uhura, like, mute.
Oh,
because she was singing that song and no one noticed. And I was like, that's kind of crazy.
Yes, after she played... So
that was the one thing.
And she was, like, choking for a second. Dude, and then he did the card tricks.
The card tricks, too. Yeah, exactly. And
then it was the card tricks.
No, and then the second trick. What was the second trick?
He made the card go into her cleavage.
Oh, yeah, God.
Yeah, scratch what I said about the... We'll do some editing. But yeah, so...
No, leave it in, whatever.
Of course, dude. I'm not editing this. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Nobody's paying me for this. You do not get edits.
Yeah, okay.
So then he makes a guy disappear. He makes Sam disappear.
What the hell did you do?
Yeah, Kirk brings in security.
Yeah. Two people in security.
And then Charlie doesn't make the security people disappear, but he makes the security person's phaser disappear.
Yeah, he goes, no.
Yeah, and then Kirk is like, look, you go to your quarters or I'm going to carry you there. And the kid's like, whatever. And he stomps off. And then you find out that he didn't just make that phaser disappear. He made all the the weapons, somebody contacts Kirk and is like, all the phasers just disappeared.
Jeez.
Exactly. So now that leads to the tense department meeting. That leads to the tense department head meeting. That's what I call these meetings when they're all like trying to figure shit. It's the department heads, and it's Spock and Bones and Kirk, and they're like, well, we can't take him to the colony. He's a crazy person, and he'll destroy anyone. And then they say, look, Bones is like, look, it's got to be between you, Kirk, and him. We got to keep him focused on you
because before,
yeah, exactly.
Obviously intenser.
Yeah, he's gonna make people disappear,
and then context.
They keep ratcheting up these conversations with the kid because last time he asked him about the melted
back
stuff,
to the drama.
Exactly, and yeah, because we talked in the last episode about how NBC wanted a lighter series, and that's why they ordered a second pilot after the first darker pilot. But then this episode is dark as hell, and it ends on, as we'll discuss in about 10 minutes, a very dark note.
Yeah.
So so then Kirk just confronts the kid. He's like, hey, did you blow up the Antares, that science ship? And the kid's like, yeah, but it would have blown up anyway. They weren't nice to me. I wanted to get rid of them. And then and Spock is like, we're in the hands of a crazy person. And that's when, and then Uhura gets shocked on the bridge. And just all this crazy shit happens. Charlie shows up and makes Spock say all this weird poetry.
Yeah, and then he threatens to make him dance and stuff.
Very Twilight Zone vibes.
Yeah, it does. But it reminded me
Zone.
Of Q also.
Yes, super powerful. And Charlie, so then there's like a montage of like all this crazy shit that Charlie does. Like he sees the lady his age and she asks what's wrong. And then he makes this crazy face and she turns into an iguana. Like, remember that? He turns that lady into an iguana, and then he's walking down the hall and he sees a bunch of people laughing.
Was Twilight Zone for sure. That definitely reminded me of that.
You just see these shadows in a hallway that are laughing, and he's like, "Stop laughing!" And then and he makes the weird forehead face. And then a lady comes around the corner and her face has disappeared. She looked like No Face from Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's some fucked up Twilight Zone shit. And then Charlie goes to Yeoman Rand's place with a pink flower, and he's like, don't ever lock your door on me again. And as he's about to, like, assault her or whatever the fuck, it cuts to commercial.
She turns on her radio, too, right?
Yeah. Well, she sees... So that's good eye, man. Yeah, well remembered. Yeah, so he's like talking to her all creepy style about, don't lock your door on me.
Incel energy again.
Yes. And then she clicks a little button that opens up a channel to Kirk and Spock, and they know what's going on. And
it's just the two of them again after all this.
They just are well. He does have superpowers, but I don't know if that's how he got in there.
The first time they trap him, I really did think they were gonna trap him.
Yeah, what?
That was...
Oh yeah, they try. So they do eventually. So they try and trap him soon here. That's like the next thing
okay, so they get to her room, right?
Yeah. So and he basically he's commit after they cut to commercial. He's like going into her menacingly. She turned on the radio, cuts to commercial, and then it comes back and Charlie's stating his love for her. She slaps him. He does the face thing and makes her disappear. And then Kirk shows up.
The face.
And he's like, I loved her, but she wasn't nice at all. Charlie's the only reason Charlie's
make me do that.
Yeah, why did she make me do that? Why did she make that
made me shudder?
Yes,
know?
It's really hard to watch. This fucking guy with his just a creepo, dude. And then
we all know someone that was like a little off-putting like that too.
Well, yeah, we know lots of them. Yeah. Well, and really. And it seems like they don't want to
sympathize with him, though.
They bring it up. They break their ass trying to sympathize with this kid all the way to the end. But basically, Kirk and Spock confront Charlie, and Charlie gives Kirk a really bad tummy ache, and he breaks Spock's legs. And he's like, Kirk, the only reason I'm not going to kill you is because I need you to help me run the ship. It's more complicated than the Antares, the other ship I ran. And Spock's legs are broken, so he lets Kirk stand up. Yeah, he lets Kirk stand up, and then Kirk says, "Unbreak Spock's legs, damn it! I need him to run the ship too."
Yeah, he's like, "You need me, I need him." That's how it fucking goes.
And so he does, and then they trick the kid by walking him back to his quarters or walking him into a room, and then the kid tries to get out of the room, and there's like a force field barrier that stops him. And this is kind of funny because with his superpowers, you think he could just turn the force field off. Well, but instead he makes the entire wall disappear.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we really thought we got him.
Well, yeah, and you'd think it's not even like, even if he broke the force field, it's not like Spock would be able to just automatically build another one with the machine that he has in the wall. He just replaces the entire wall, and Spock and Kirk are just standing there like, what the hell?
And then the kid doesn't like lash out at them or anything. He just stomps away like a baby.
Oh,
like he does.
hilarious.
It's just like that. This kid will just cause a bunch of havoc and then just walk off stage.
He doesn't kill them in particular, which is very interesting.
Well, he did say he needs.
He
did say he needs Kirk to run the ship. But
he doesn't harm them, threaten them.
Exactly. So he just storms off, and that gives Kirk and everybody ample time to go over a plan. And the plan is basically Kirk says, "Why didn't he just make us disappear?" And he seems to think that maybe the kid's spreading himself too thin with his powers. Like he's got to use his powers to run all these different elements of the ship and shit, right? So Kirk is like, "What if we?" That's why Kirk thinks that he's not killing more people and making more people disappear. He's too weak because he's running all these ship systems. So Kirk wants to overwhelm him, overload him. Yeah. And so they're all on the bridge for the big end. They're trying
big confrontation.
Exactly. They're turning dials, and Charlie's like, "I've got your ship, Captain." And then they put Kirk's plan into action. Kirk actually tussles with the guy. He uses his power, and then suddenly a big green fucking face shows up.
Yeah, this very reminded me of Wizard of Oz,
Yes.
With the Oz head.
Yes.
For sure.
Okay, so that effect is straight out of Wizard of Oz playbook.
Oh, and it was really beautiful too, though, how they perceive the ship of just being green rays of light.
So basically, Uhura is like, our sensors are picking up a ship,
right?
And then they show the ship that's just like these green beams of light, and then the big green face appears. And it's revealed that these are the Thasians. And the Thasian is like, "I'm coming to you, appearing as I did hundreds of years ago." And so this is who Charlie's been with this whole time, right? And the Thasian says, "We got to take Charlie because he is not going to fit into it with your society." And even after all the shit he's done, how the fuck does Kirk respond?
He wants to still save him, and what is it?
He says we could train him.
Train him to not use his powers.
We could train him to not use his powers, and the Thasians are just like, "Nah, it's impossible."
No, and the other kicker though that they even say, like, I don't mean to interrupt, but they say, yeah, well, with the last ship, we didn't really have enough time. We couldn't contact him in time and reach him before he blew it up. You guys just happened to be pretty lucky and hold out on him and tolerate him long enough for us to find you.
And and then the Thasian returns everybody that disappeared.
It's classic Star Trek, though. They just have just enough time.
Just enough time to save everybody. So all the people he made disappear come back. And Charlie is like, so Kirk fights for him to get him to stay. And the Thasians are just like, now we can't do it. No matter what, he's going to use his powers and fuck shit up.
Exactly.
And the kid has this really epic, you got that part in the book ready about the last. So the kid has this really epic thing where he's like, "Don't let them take me. I can't live with them. They can't even feel." And that was like a big thing, is like, they can't feel. And he just never has that sense of touch. And
well, like, we were both just arguing actually about, and especially this part, and this is where it goes credit to what's the actor, Robert Walker Jr. He absolutely killed it. He was absolutely begging basically for his life and for mercy, and that's saying, "Oh, they don't feel, they don't touch, and let me just stay." And when he says the word "stay," it freezes on him, and it kind of does a repeating effect. And apparently they do it in 2 later episodes. Let me see here. It says...
They don't... Also, while you're looking for that, he says, "They don't feel love!"
Oh, yeah, they don't feel love.
Oh, and I should have mentioned, at the beginning of this sequence, for no reason, Yeoman Rand was teleported onto the bridge wearing a pink dress.
Oh, yeah, the episodes are also The Squire of Gothos and Who Mourns for Adonis. Adonis.
Yeah, that's an old timey. It's like a Greek or Roman name.
Yeah.
So basically, tragically, the green head teleports the kid away, and Yeoman Rand was on the ship, was on the bridge in a pink dress for some reason.
Too. The Thesians are like, oh yeah, we brought everybody back. They didn't really die.
Yeah, and
the last ship they died, but not this one.
Oh, that's why she was there. It's like
exactly. Everybody just shows up.
They brought her back. They didn't put her back in her quarters where she disappeared. They put her in the pink dress on the bridge.
She was just in her nightgown on the bridge.
So and then basically Kirk just looks and says, "Well, it's all over now," and that's a somber ass ending. It's like. Kirk's just like, well, that's it. The last episode, they were cracking each other up, and NBC didn't buy the original pilot because it was too dark. And this one just ends with, well, that's it. And then it's just the most somber ass music, and then do dee dee dee, and then the ending credits. Like, I love when there's a somber ending of a Star Trek the original series because it just immediately cuts to
the theme song just sliced into that, and it was just also just like, oh yeah, Moran got harassed, but like we're okay now.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even. It's just like, absolute silence.
They don't address her at all.
You can feel there's like even an emotional.
She starts crying.
You can feel an emotional silence. Did she start crying at the end?
Yeah, she cries at the end of the bridge, and he's like,
"Oh my god,
it's all over now."
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because she cries for Charlie too, that he was taken.
Oh my god.
By those people who don't have love or whatever, right? We got to rewatch the end of this. I'm not going to edit this episode, but I think that we have to rewatch the end because if she cries for him, I would be bummed.
I'm in the middle because this is what we were actually arguing about, and in the book I highlighted it too. But it says in the final version, Charlie is definitely not to blame for what he does. He was never taught to curb his powers. He was never disciplined to use his destructive urges because the urges could do the insubstantial Thasians no harm. So like they didn't hurt each other, so he didn't really have a concept of like the damage.
He couldn't hurt them. It's like how they say when your cat is young and it like scratches you too hard, you're supposed to act like it really fucking hurts you, even if it doesn't, because then they get trained to not want to hurt you.
Right.
But then
it just ends with the music.
Yes, it just ends with the music. And so that's the end of Charlie X, episode 2 of Star Trek the Original Series, which aired on September 5th, 1966. We like to end all of these episodes by talking about something cool that something that...
Weren't we going to talk about our thoughts, though, with the episode? We just kind of recapped it. Right.
That's right. We did the recap.
I'll let you do it first.
Okay, so my thoughts on the episode. It's fucking sad and hilarious. It's bizarre. Just like the fact that Charlie X is such a perfect example of Twitter incel culture now. It's just, and the guest star, what was that guy's name? You just said his name.
Robert Walker Jr.
Robert Walker Jr. just absolutely fucking killed it. Such a great guest star. And even the two guest stars that played the science, the people who dropped him off at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
even how tense they seemed, and just how like
so scared.
They really brought it. And so I just think that from the costume designs to the story to the performances, it was just a great episode. But the main thing is to how it really, all of the him slapping her ass and just how awkward Kirk is about explaining
a lot
it.
Eye roll and cringing.
I guess I just loved how, usually I don't like cringy stuff. It makes it too hard to watch. But this was like 1966. Looking at it now, cringe, and that I really like that element of it. What about you? What resonated with this episode?
I mean, I guess not really things that resonated. I wanted to go just down the list of what I wrote and what I was thinking. Obviously, the reference Charlie X, right? He's a teen. X-Men, mutants. Charlie, Professor X.
You think so?
I think so. I think there's some relation. Obviously, he wrote it before the X-Men came out.
And they don't even call him Charlie X in the show.
Of course, but it's like, why is the title after that? But anyways, I was thinking about that in the back of my mind too. But it's like, obviously, the way that they would lean to is like, yeah, he can't control his powers, and he needs to be helped. But the big thing, and it comes back to with the last episode, is like, it's that eerie, just vastness of loneliness and just being like, oh, they can't feel, like, I need to stay, I need to be with people. Like, even a lunatic would need to have some contact with something to feel some form of love and some form of humanity, and that's what like really reached out to me. The other thing was that incredibly biased against women, like Uhura, that poor lady that got turned into an iguana, and obviously
the other lady that got her face, and the lady
yeah,
that was
the
a lady whose
got her
face got
shut. That was the other thing too. When I saw that shot, I was like, "Is this place just like a nightmare ship? Like all their reports are just like all these wacky, and like they sometimes live, they sometimes die.
Imagine if you're in the security office and it's like somebody just turned into an iguana on deck 5. 5 people on deck 6 ain't got their faces no more,
and they're just like, what happened?" Yeah, no, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare ship. That's what it feels like, and we're only the second episode in, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, good thoughts, man.
I was really excited though.
I liked it. I'm looking forward. And just I've always had.
It's terrifying.
Even from Dick Tracy, when the lady didn't have a face, with no face in the Dick Tracy movie, the idea of like somebody, whenever a character in a show like loses their mouth, or like their face disappears, it always freaks me the fuck out. Yeah, because I use my mouth all the time. And I would hate for it. Plus, my sinuses are bad, so I have a hard time breathing through my nose. So my mouth it's needed for everything.
No, and just the iguana thing that freaks me out a little more too, because it's just like the part of just being absolutely helpless and just being down there and being a totally different species that you don't know what to do, and you just lay down there and you're like, I hope no one steps on me, or I hope someone sees me. It's scary.
Unsettling.
Yeah.
Well, we like to end these episodes talking about something we're watching or doing. Do you have a recommendation for something?
Let's see.
This is the second
kind
episode.
of a run it back, but I've been on HBO Max. I've been watching just Justice League Unlimited, but also though there's a new show. Actually, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna watch it after this. Nathan For You, the rehearsal.
Oh yeah, Nathan Fiedler.
Fantastic.
Hey, we could maybe watch that.
Not Nathan For You, but Nathan Fielder.
Yeah, we could watch that together maybe after this. I was never a Nathan For You guy, but I love him. I'm
so excited.
I've been a fan of like the very idea of him. So I've heard great things about this show. So yeah, we'll check it out. Good.
Okay, cool.
For me, also HBO Max, I guess maybe HBO Max and Adult Swim. I've been watching Bird Girl. Which is kind of the sequel to Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, because it's
great show.
Yeah, so Bird Girl is Ken Seben's daughter.
Oh, okay.
And she takes over the company.
Right.
And so it's basically about her running the company and also being Bird Girl, but
the pilot was on YouTube.
It's fucking hilarious, dude. You got HBO Max, check it out.
Okay.
It's so good. And Paget Brewster plays Bird Girl, and Paget is like absolutely one of the funniest actresses on the planet, and her voice acting is so good. She plays the mom of Huey, Dewey, and Louie on the new DuckTales. I cannot fucking remember her name, but she's so good in everything she's in, and all the voice cast is great, and it's just like a throwback to that era of Adult Swim that was that Harvey Birdman, I think, really stood out and exemplifies in. And it just makes me laugh really hard. So check that out. That's my recommendation. Okay. Bird Girl on Adult Swim and HBO Max. And that's it. This is the soon-to-be titled...
Episode 3.
Yeah, this is episode...
2.
This is episode 2. We're not counting the pilot because we're going to keep in line with the series.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is episode 2 of the soon-to-be titled Star Trek Original Series Recap Podcast. Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Trek in the Valley is executive produced by Adam Ordall Quinnell and Al Hirt. Theme song by Al Hirt. Recorded by Adam, mixed and edited by Al. Check the show notes for our socials, and you can email the pod at trekinthevalley, all one word, @gmail.com. Like, subscribe, review, and always explore strange new fucking worlds.